First thing this morning, my son has a Pope and Young buck coming by. Not even good video light yet.
Meh. Meh. Meh.
Unfortunately, he hits a limb with his arrow and misses the deer clean. And of course, later that morning, the smaller buck comes right up under his stand, giving him all kinds of good shot opportunities. That's usually the way it works. This little buck kind of smelt Matthew's ground scent, but he's got other things on his mind, such as does, so doesn't seem too concerned about the ground scent. As his morning progresses, some of the does start filtering through. You can tell they're really cautious because they're being chased by bucks. The timing's getting pretty good here. Our setup in this scenario is he is between two old growed up fields. They used to be planted in soybeans last year, but now that everything down there is growed up. He has a field north of him and a field south of him, and there's a strip of woods to the east of him that connects a bigger strip of timber. The bedding area is pretty much right up on the hill to the west of him. This is his afternoon setup, and he saw possibly another Pope and Young buck. Tries to call him over to him. As you can see, that's what all the fields look like. This one's actually probably the lowest in height of all the fields around and the most active for deer density. That's not a bad looking buck for an Alabama boy. We ain't used to seeing bucks that size. Kind of got a messed up left rack, but I think Matthew would have been happy putting his tag on this deer. We're starting out with my evening hunt because basically my morning hunt was a bust. But the evening hunt turned out to be good. Scouting my way into this spot, I found an acorn tree just off of doe bedding. I figured these bucks would skirt the edge, maybe even pick up an acorn or two on their way checking these does. And sure enough, just about 40-50 yards out, a really nice buck starts skirting through. I'm going to try to call him to me.
Eh. Eh.
With bucks cruising like that, you have to get their attention. Sometimes they just won't stop and come to the first grunt call you throw at them, but if you can get their interest and make them turn, shut up, they're coming. Now I can see a hole right behind the front shoulder on this deer where that arrow went through, and I'm watching blood drip on the ground as he's standing there. So I'm thinking, I want to get this on video, him falling over dead. I'm just trying to find him in the viewfinder right now. A 2 by 3 inch viewfinder can be difficult. So he stands there long enough, I'm thinking, I'll put another arrow in him. Now I just watched that arrow go right through double lung, and that arrow's on the ground saturated in blood. He's standing there now just pouring blood out. Huge puddle. I'm going to put a third arrow in this deer because he's still standing. I'm waiting for him to kind of turn his head so I can draw without getting busted. Still want to be careful. going to squat down in my tree stand a little bit low to shoot under the leaves. Hopefully get it on video.
That's 3 arrows in that deer. All 3 in the boiler room. That is 3 arrows in that deer. All 3 of them double long shots. And that deer's still standing on its feet. You have got to be kidding me. I have never in my life seen anything like this. He's still standing right there. I can't get a shot at him no more. I have never in my life seen anything like that. I have got to quit. Gotta be still. He's just standing there. He's got to die. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah.
I figure if I can convince him I'm still a deer over there, maybe he'll stand there and not run off.
Yeah.
For the record, that has worked in the past. That is without a doubt the craziest thing I've ever had happen to me. I seen him coming. He was kind of walking fast. Time I got my bow up, got the camcorder turned on, I had a shooting lane, but he kind of walked through it. So I got nothing to lose. I grunted. First couple of times he didn't hear me, and then he heard me. He may have heard me the second and the third time. He flicked his tail, looked my way, took a couple of steps like he was going to go that way, and then just kind of turned and come right up here. Gave me about a 10-yard shot. Got a pass-through shot. Got hair and blood on the ground right there. Looked like a good shot. Made a couple, 2 or 3 hops, stopped, gave me a 18-yard shot. Good shot. I got a lot of blood where he was standing right there. My arrow, I could see it, it's blood soaked. He hopped 2 or 3 more hops, stopped, stood there. I got another arrow out. I shot him a third time. There is a huge puddle of blood over there where he stood on the third shot. And he walked off. He ran a few steps, stopped again, and just steady walked off. He, I guess, 5 minutes, stood over there. I watched him with the binos. He flicked his tail several times, which is a dead giveaway that he's dying, and just walked off. Real slow, real steady. I never heard him lay down. I never heard him crash. Been about 30 minutes. I'm going to ease down out of my tree stand while I still got good daylight. Very slow. Going to get my arrows, collect them all up, and start the blood trail. Real slow. Get my binos ahead of me.
all 3 of them arrows went right through double lung. There's no way that deer's still alive. I've never had a deer do this. That is one tough dude. Let's go get him.
So I went back to the truck and got my son, got our flashlights, hit the woods, started blood trailing this deer. This deer left all kind of blood where I shot him.
The first place he stood looked about like this. He run over here, stopped. Blood is just not that great for 3 arrows going through a deer.
I'm gonna be honest, folks. I felt like I would find buckets full of blood laying everywhere, splattered on the trees. I had good blood, but I really expected more.
I never heard him walking through this stuff here. He walked so quiet, so slow.
These animals never cease to amaze me at what they can do.
Folks, y'all ain't gonna believe this. I went and picked my son up. We got the flashlights, roll of toilet paper. We took off down to the woods where I'd shot this deer. Started blood trailing him, plenty of blood, puddles of blood. Walking real easy, not hard to follow at all. Walk up on a deer bed where he lay down, saturated in blood. This deer got up and walked, and we blood trailed him another 75 yards, got out into a log road, and he was just walking right down this old growed up log road. We're following along behind him. Well, we don't know it. I shine the light ahead of him, and about 25 yards in front of us is standing this deer on his feet, looking at us. I kid you not, this deer is still on his feet. He made 2 or 3 hops, got behind some brush. Me and Matthew, we just turned the lights out and just stood there real quiet and listened to this deer walk off through the woods. He said, "Dad, what are we going to do?" I said, "We got to back out. We can't follow this deer if he's on his feet." He laid down once. He'll lay down again. It's going to be cold tonight. We'll come back in the morning. We'll find this deer. So the game plan is my son's going to go do a morning hunt. As soon as it breaks daylight, I'm going to pick up the blood trail and start blood trailing this deer and find him. So that's the game plan for tomorrow. He'll lay down tonight. It's cold. I think it's supposed to go down 28 degrees, they said. So the meat won't be spoiled. I'll get my deer tomorrow.